Hi, it's Mel from Movement and New Fitness Coaching. This week I'm going to show you how to put together a great cereal idea for breakfast for the kids and the adults. So one of them is a chocolate pudding, obviously, promote that to the kids. But the Bircher Muesli I'm also making, try the kids with that as well, because the sooner you introduce these different flavours to your children, the more likely they're to embrace it and keep eating it as they grow older and not even think about it. So as always with Junk Food Friday, there's no processed sugars in this. It's low fat. It's full of fruit. It's full of rolled oats, which why I've focused on rolled oats is because how cheap they are. They fill the body, so you get the satiety required from them, so you don't keep overeating. And they're a great source of energy for the kids. Send them off to school with a bowl of this in their belly, and they're more likely to have better concentration. Research has proven when kids have a proper breakfast that's made of complex carbohydrates and fruits and cereals and all of those mixtures of things, they focus better at school, and builds them into a healthier adult and adolescent. So let's go have a look at the recipe. All of the ingredients are listed on the website in the recipe. But this is just to give you some ideas. If you really don't like cooking because you find it such a chore, a really easy thing to do when you cook is to get all your ingredients together first. So don't worry about the quantities and that sort of thing for this, because it's all on the recipe blog as it always is. But I've got the two flavours. I've got the traditional Bircher muesli, and then I've got the kids' chocolate pudding muesli. And I'm going to put them all together to show you how easy it is. So the first component is natural rolled oats into the pot. Then we take the cocoa powder, natural, so there's no sugar in it. That's the difference. That's why I wanted to show you the packaging. You buy hot chocolate from the supermarket, you're going to get sugar in it. How we sweeten it is with honey. So that's about a tablespoon of honey going into that. And why it's better is because honey is a natural sugar, naturally forming. The body processes it better, as opposed to processed sugars that are processed and stored very poorly by the body. Next component, we've got a cup of water. Now what happens to that is we store that overnight and let it soak. Give it a swirl. Done. So from there, lid goes on and I let that store overnight. So that's the grated Granny Smith apple, all the juice and all, because we want the sweetness from the Granny Smith. It does have some, all fruit has fructose in it, whether it be smaller amounts or not. Now what we do, we've used Granny Smiths because they resist going brown or oxidizing. But what I have here is I have some nicely half a lemon squeezed along with another really cool fruit which I grow. These are called chinotto. So they're a citrusy based fruit. Now these have more of an orange flavour. So what you could do is juice half an orange. Now you want to make sure that that apple is in the juice completely, because that is what's going to stop it from going brown. Then what happens? We've got some dried coconut. You can use desiccated if you want. You can use bigger pieces. Depends how smooth you want your Bircher to appear. We've got our natural rolled oats and we put that in. And then we've got 1 1/4 cups of water, which we're going to add. Give it a little mix. And that goes into the fridge overnight. The fridge for this one, because it's not going to be cooked. And that's why we have to be really careful how much water we add. So do stick to the recipe quantities for the liquids, because it will ensure that you end up with a nice consistency Bircher, not too runny. So that goes into the fridge, and we won't be cooking that one like we will be cooking the chocolate pudding. So this is the chocolate pudding. I put it on, brought it to the boil, turned it down to a simmer for 8 minutes. No water added, just as it is in the recipe. Now I'm going to put it in the fridge to cool. So I've taken my chocolate pudding off the stove. I've let it cool at room temperature first. Before putting it in the fridge, I've added a cup of yogurt. Now with your yogurt, try to get no sugar yogurt, natural. When you're picking up your yogurt tubs, I'm going to show you where to start looking. Read the ingredients labels. Don't just read this index of nutrient value, because it'll have things listed on there like carbohydrates, but you're not going to know until you actually read the ingredients section if those carbohydrates are coming from fructose or processed sugars. And the ingredients section will teach you, it'll say sugar. That means it's coming from a processed sugar source. So what we do when we use natural yogurt to make it more palatable so the children will start to embrace it is we add things like honey, maple syrup, natural sweeteners that the kids are going to love. And like I said, the sooner you start engaging their tongues with natural sweeteners and no salt, they're going to embrace that and not require that, because it is an addictive palate that processed sugars and salts create. So into the pudding, once it cooled, I've put my cup of yogurt. All the quantities are on the recipe blog. Don't worry about trying to remember them. I've put milk. I've mixed it in order to help it emulsify. If you put your pudding into the fridge to cool it down completely, it sets too hard and it doesn't emulsify to that nice creamy pudding texture like we've got there. All right, so we're going to start layering. I've got a range of items here. Now, I've got a mixture of nuts. I've got some sunflower seeds. Oh, what's this? Chocolate chips, you say? They're cocoa nibs, which taste exactly like eating a chocolate chip. They're amazing. The kids won't know the difference. Crunchy like chocolate, they're great. Really good source of antioxidants. A range of chopped fruits and some whole fruits in order to garnish nicely. So we're going to layer this up now. Now, in the recipe, I've talked about a tablespoon of honey. Try that. If the kids aren't so keen on it, guess what you can do? You can use your honey and drizzle it around the glass to make a nice little coating to give it that extra boost of sweetness. So if your kids aren't quite taking it on in the state that I've made it with the 1 tablespoon of honey, you just get your honey and smear it around the outside of the glass. They'll think it's caramel or something, but it'll give it that extra sweetness that they may require. Try them on at first, see how they go. The other one you can do is get a naturally sweetened yogurt. So that means a yogurt that's been sweetened with either honey or fruit. So when you pop that pudding in, you want to create a little wave effect in the bottom. So we push it around like so, get a big wad in there. So we're only going to put two layers. We'll try to keep the glass as clean as we can. You might have parfait glasses that you want to put it in for the kids. And push it out like so. Then what we do, as we layer the fruit, I've used the chopped fruit. So we sprinkle a little bit of chopped banana. You can use any fruits you like, but do try to use a mixture, because once again, the more you start getting your kids used to different fruits, the more they're going to embrace them every day and have a more open mind to different flavours. And this is where you try and make it a bit pretty and push some of the colours up against the glass. Because we all know kids love colours, right? Hundreds and thousands. Think hundreds and thousands rainbows. All right, that's enough fruit there. You can even throw some nuts into that layer, or even some cocoa nibs, just to add that bit of crunch into there. Now with the nuts, mixture. You know how I feel about nuts, right? 30 grams a day. You can see I've even got peanuts in there. Research has shown that kids who are introduced to peanuts earlier in life are less likely to develop intolerance and allergies to them. So this is the latest research, the direction they're heading down. So they're trying to encourage parents to slowly start giving their kids peanuts. So we're going to use those for the top. The next component is getting another layer of pudding on there. And this layer is a little bit thinner just to cover the fruit. And then we go into that garnish effect on top, building up a nice little mound of fruit. Now, with this recipe, you can keep this for 7 days in the fridge. So you can make it on the weekend for the week. So you send the kids off to school with a very satisfied full belly of complex carbohydrates, because that's what some of the processed cereals you're buying for your children in the supermarket don't have. Complex carbohydrates, really important for that long-term energy. Now, this is where we make it attractive for them, so they'll eat it and have a bit of fun with it. So you might get the kids involved even in building this, for example, and they might make a face in the top. Make it fun, get them involved in building it. Then they start learning about different foods and different fruits. So a couple of different flavoured nuts. And off you go. That is the chocolate pudding. All right, amazing flavour. I'm going to have a taste. Call it chocolate pudding. Trust me, they'll love it. It's creamy. It tastes like chocolate. It's got a little sweetness to it. Get them used to it now. And even for the big kids, you'll love it. Also, the other good thing about this, you can serve it hot as it gets colder if you want to. So all you do if you've got it in the fridge is reheat it in the microwave. So chocolate pudding. Have a go at that one. Now, the next one, my favourite, Bircher Muesli. I love a good Bircher Muesli, but see, I use the word good. It's got to have great components in it. So this has been soaking overnight, like I showed you. Still just the fruit juices in there. The citrus in it has made it amazingly fresh and tasty with smell. The citrus also helps to break down the oat proteins. So that means it starts to soften it. That's why you don't need to cook it. Soaking it overnight breaks those proteins down. Great flavours in there. Now to make it creamy, because we love texturized, right? So making it creamy, we're going to add a cup of yogurt. So once again, this one doesn't keep for quite as long. I'd probably make it for 3 or 4 days, because the apple goes brown. It will only hold like that for about 3 or 4 days. So you could either leave the apple out if you want to soak it for the whole week, but traditional Bircher, I personally prefer to make 2 batches in a week. So I'll make one on the weekend, and then midweek I'll find time to make a second batch to get me through till the end of the week. It's a nicer, fresher flavour when you make it twice during the week. Whereas the chocolate pudding doesn't matter so much. Now, if you've got gluten intolerances, give this a go. They say oats are mostly gluten-free is the word they use, because they have a certain type of gluten in, but research has shown that even celiacs can tolerate oats because of the type of gluten that's in it. So the best thing to do if you've got gluten intolerances is to make sure you buy the ones that say gluten-free, because when they get processed in the factory is when they get contaminated with other harsher glutens from flours and so forth. So buy the ones that say gluten-free. Rolled oats, natural, unprocessed. Those 1 minute oats you've been eating, guess what? Highly processed, not getting a lot out of them. When we eat fresh oats, we have benefits of lowering our cholesterol. The antioxidants in them help to reduce blood pressure, Once again, they lower insulin levels. Great food to start your day with. All right, so we're going to layer this. You can see how nice and creamy that is. No milk, just the yogurt and the juices in there. Here we go. A little bit softer than the other one, but it's a beautiful mix. I love Bircher muesli. Even in winter, when it's cold, I still love this. I just take it out the fridge to sit a little bit to take the chill off it. Not so nice when you heat Bircher, and that's why I tend not to heat it. I do like it room temperature, but not so nice when heated. So let's make this one nice and pretty. We can go nuts with the fruit. So remember, we're meant to have about 2 to 3 serves of fruit a day. So right here, I've actually got chopped up 3 serves. So you can see, technically, in this muesli, you're only getting about 1.5 to 2 serves. And same with the nuts, your 30 grams, you're probably getting about 15 grams of your nuts. So you've kept some in reserve, so you can still have some nuts and another piece of fruit as your afternoon or morning tea snack. All right, let's get another layer of that muesli in there. Pushing that around, letting some of that colour of the fruit still be seen in the other layers. Just a little bit more to make it that recommended serving of about 1/2 cup of oats, uncooked that is. All right, now we're going to mound this up. We'll get some coconut. If you wanted to add colour with your Bircher because it is white, you could toast that coconut a little. We're going to get some nuts, mixed nuts in there, even for the adults. A few peanuts, a few walnuts. We'll put 2 raspberries in there. So raspberries complement the effects of the oats. So those insulin-lowering properties that the oats have, raspberries have them too. So great for diabetics. That's a cocoa nib on there. Don't worry about that. We'll use all that pawpaw. Pawpaw is great. If you've got digestion problems, pawpaw is really gentle on the gut and actually helps aid digestion. So have a remember of that one and keep that in mind. We're going to get those cocoa nibs and we're putting sunflower seeds onto the adults one because a mixture of nuts and seeds is most important in the diet. So give that a clean up. And that is my Bircher. So 2 great breakfast ideas there, very satisfying. You eat one of those on their own, you would not need anything else for breakfast. You're really overgorging. Remember, 4 small meals a day are better than 3 big. So keep working on that. If you've got any comments or have any recipes you'd like me to show you how to make, please feel free to leave a message in comments or contact me through my info section on the website, myfitnesscoaching.com.au. Have a great week. I hope you enjoy these breakfast ideas.